On answering your questions. Now, starting this Friday, some counties in Oregon will be able to enter that phase one of the governor's reopening plan. Let's talk to Pat Doris. He's been following this story closely for us. He joins us now with some answers to some questions that we've gotten so far. Now, Pat, try to remind us really quickly again, what does phase one entail? What does that mean when things begin to open in this phase one?
Well, it's like when we come out from a dark room and we start to see a little bit of sunlight. It means that Oregon, the society, can start to generally relax a little bit. Bars and restaurants will be able to open again. Personal care things like you can get a haircut suddenly, and gyms as well. There will still be the social distancing requirement, but there won't be the intensive lockdown that we've had.
So they have to apply, basically. These counties will apply. They have to meet all of these different requirements. So far, 31 of 36 counties have applied to reopen. Many of the areas around the Portland metro say that it is going to be, late May or early June before some of the more populated areas are able to even apply. Why is that? Is it population, or are there other different elements to that?
Well, they tell me that it is population-based because as part of this phase one, you have to have a certain number of COVID-19 trackers for every 10,000 or 100,000 people, maybe 100,000. So in Multnomah County, for example, you have to have 120 people. Well, they don't have that. In fact, they're just starting this week to advertise to fill those positions. And Dr. Jennifer Vines was telling me last week, it's not like you can just pull people in off the street. They have to be trained. They have to be really good at empathy so you can get these sick people that you're talking to tell you who all their friends were and what are their phone numbers, because now you have to call them. They're looking for people that are bilingual and from a lot of different ethnic backgrounds. So it's going to be tougher than it seems like it would be.
So let's talk about some of the more rural areas that just so happen to be some of the most beautiful parts of our entire state. So they have this element of tourism involved. So they may actually meet the criteria to open up. Hood River, for instance, Hood River County, they applied to reopen. It's a beautiful spot, especially during these summer months. What's going to happen, or is there the fear that people might flood to go there if they reopen?
Well, it seems likely that, well, I think personally, without any inside knowledge, I think they are going to be able to open. And I think that they are already starting to put the stiff arm out to say, hold on, Portland people, don't come out here yet, because they know that it's precarious. Their downtown has been hammered by this, way worse, the board chair told me, than even 2.5 years ago when the Big Gorge fire hit. But so they definitely could use some business, but at the same time, they're worried that if they get a huge flood, because it's not that far from Portland, they get a huge flood of people, they'll just, blow out all these restrictions and requirements of 6 feet in between the restaurant tables. And when people are standing in lines, they're not too close and all that. And so they're worried that either they'll have a rebound of the disease or the state will crack down or something will go wrong. So they want it to be very slow and gradual and deliberate. In other places, though, like in Baker County on the far eastern side over by Idaho, they say, come on out. We got plenty of room, and we have businesses there that are also hurting. So it's kind of a tale of two cities or counties, depending on how close you are to Portland.
Tourism is a big part, and I just know from the people that I'm talking to, there are folks who are going to look for things to do. We get emails in all of the time saying when stuff starts to open up, people are going to go seek that out. Tourism being such a big part of the economies in some of these areas, and I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of guesswork. Do you think that there is a large portion of our more rural communities that will see substantial openings this phase one come Friday?
Yes, because in places like Baker County, they only have 16,000 residents in the entire county. So they've been ahead of the curve all along figuring this stuff out. They maybe have 0 positive cases, or they might have 1. So they were able to get the contact tracers. They're able to get the testing. They have quarantine areas set up because they're not dealing with all that many people. And they were very forward leaning and very progressive. And so boom, 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 they are set to go. Some of the other counties like Curry County down south, I know that they've been looking at it as well. And so where you have large land mass, but not that many people, which is pretty common outside of Portland and Marion County area, those folks really have their act together, and they've got all the boxes checked that they need to have checked. So I think we're going to see a lot of those folks opening up.
If you look at the numbers, it is inevitable that if more people are together, that we're going to see more cases of this virus. It's just the way it's going to go. Is there a fear from some of these communities that we could see phase 1 get rolled back if we begin to see a spike? Has the governor talked about that?
Well, yeah, and I think it's a legit fear because everybody, not only in Oregon but around the country, has said, "Look out! This is a serious possibility." So when you hear like the board leader in Hood River County saying, "Slow down, everybody," that's exactly what he's talking about. They don't want to have a gajillion cases all of a sudden and have to go back and kind of start over, shut down the society again, and wait another 2 months until things calm down. They'd much rather take it slow and easy, they're telling me, and just kind of have it be progressively, gradually opened up again. So, yeah, that is definitely on a lot of people's minds, Dan.
Yeah, we know the threat of this virus. We know the threat of having an economy shut down. We have to be able to tend to both of them at the same time, and we're going to have to be responsible in doing so. Pat Dorris, thank you so much for your reporting tonight.
It's my pleasure.
All right, so what are the big issues that Oregon will have to solve right now and in the future to recover from this pandemic? Brenda Braxton asked a member of Oregon's COVID Council, known as the Virus Hunter.
My name is Ken Stedman. I'm a professor of biology at Portland State University in the Center for Life in Extreme Environments, and they call me the Virus Hunter.
He hunts viruses for a living, so who better to ask about COVID-19? His take on restarting Oregon's economy during this pandemic is short and sweet.
Listen to the scientists, test. I mean, listen to the real experts, people who know a lot about coronavirus, know a lot about public health, and for that matter, the sociologists and the psychologists, the people who also think about how we as a society are responding to this disease.
Among other things, those experts recommend physical distancing and wearing a face mask in public. So if we follow those kinds of guidelines, do you not expect to see a rise in coronavirus cases, or do you?
I would hope that we're not going to have a major raise, but a lot of that depends on really the numbers of people who have and are potentially transmitting the virus. That's why testing is really so critical.
So when will we know if recovering from coronavirus gives you immunity?
That's going to take time. The only way we're going to know how long it lasts in humans is to see what happens a year from now, 2 years from now. Certainly the data right now look very promising in terms of at least having some kind of protection. But we're not going to know until more people get exposed.
The big breakthrough will be a vaccine, and research is moving at lightning speed.
Most take 10, some take 20 or more. This is years. So that we might have a vaccine by early next year is absolutely incredible.
But the Virus Hunter doesn't think it'll be one and done.
I think we're going to have multiple vaccines, and probably what's going to happen is there'll be some that end up being better or worse, hopefully better and increasingly better. But I think that's part of the process that we do have to bear in mind. It's not going to be the vaccine. I think there will be a vaccine, and then there will be more vaccines, not unlike flu and some of the other vaccines as well.
Interesting to think about. Now, you can send in your questions at any time. There's a new number to text, 503-226-5088. If we don't get to yours tonight, we'll be answering questions right here at 7 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday. All right, coming up, does gender role play a role in our immune system's ability to fight off the coronavirus? Scientists will help connect the dots about what they're seeing in more severe cases in men than in women. But first, a question. Workers in a meatpacking plant have tested positive for the coronavirus. Is the meat they have come in contact with infected? The answer, the FDA says there is currently no evidence to support the transmission of COVID-19 by food.
Have you been a victim of fraud or scams during this crisis? Go to this site to learn more.
Okay, role play. Jamie, Mara's the customer.
Excuse me, would you be interested in bundling your home and auto with Progressive?
No.
Well, you could save money.
I'm independently wealthy.
You can get round-the-clock protection.
I have a bodyguard.
Okay, this is totally unrealistic.
Well, you weren't really selling
I
it.
didn't buy it at
How
all.
am I supposed to play off that?
Yeah, it was really bad.
Okay, I can do better. I can do better. Hey, my name is Jamie, and I'm here to say...
Jamie, don't do that.
This week, it's not about us. This week, it's not about you. This week is for the nurses on the front line. We wanted to show a little love and bring a little joy. So we are hitting the road and handing out flowers to our nurses on the front line. From one front line to another, Safeway Albertsons thanks you.
Carrier asks, what does comfort mean to you? We know it means more than just the temperature. And the people who invented modern air conditioning keep inventing new ways to make you comfortable. Carrier, turn to the experts.
Your comfort and the comfort of your family is most important to Blairco Incorporated. Right now you can receive up to $1,650 cash back on a qualifying Carrier system. Call Blairco today. Blairco, keeping Clark County comfortable since 1987.
Climate change, romantic frauds. Just some of the topics I tackle on my new podcast, Under the Big Umbrella with Matt Savino. Short episodes, surprising topics. Subscribe and listen wherever you find podcasts.
Pandemic nurses who used to be pro NFL cheerleaders.
I'm wearing my PPE.
They were once on the sidelines. Now they're on the front lines of the crisis. Next, Inside Edition.
Tonight at 7:30 on KGW.
Fewer women are dying from coronavirus, and scientists think the answer may be in our chromosomes. Let's connect the dots. As researchers examine the numbers coming out of this coronavirus pandemic, they're noticing a trend. Men are getting more severe cases than women. This has been the case from the very beginning in China, and it's continued as the outbreak has spread. Scientists aren't quite sure why this is, but they have a few ideas. It turns out, gender does play a role in our immune systems. Women tend to have a stronger immune response in general, and that's been linked to our chromosomes. Most of the genes related to immune response are on the X chromosome, which of course, women have 2 of, while men only have 1. Hormones may also play a role. In lab experiments, estrogen has been shown to help increase immune response. But it's still early when it comes to researching COVID-19, and experts have not ruled out other factors, including behaviors. Men are much more likely to smoke than women, which could put them at a higher risk. Also less likely to wash their hands and less likely to seek medical care. All of these behaviors could also be affecting the numbers. Connecting the dots, I'm Stephanie Whitfield.
What measures are local hospitals taking to help keep pregnant women safe during this coronavirus crisis? Here's what Dr. Lisa Gibbons with Cascadia Women's Clinic told us.
We're doing a lot of safety precautions and preventative things to help ladies and their significant others get in and out of the hospital quickly. And we've also pared down the frequency of our visits in the office to help decrease exposures to patients, and doing a lot of telemedicine like this, where we do a lot of question answering and a lot of hand holding over the phone and video teleconferencing with ladies.
We also wanted to check in on the latest on Oregon State University's testing project. Students and healthcare workers are going door to door and testing residents. Kaylee Chalmers explains what they found in their sampling so far.
Yeah, they've analyzed the data from the first weekend of testing. Now, keep in mind, they've got several more weekends of testing to do, but what they found so far is a bit encouraging. The findings suggest that about 2 people per 1,000 in the Corvallis community had the COVID-19 virus when they were tested. In other words, if you were to run into a random person in Corvallis, there would be a 2 in 1,000 chance that person would be infected. Now, this is really important information as the state starts to reopen. But the scientists caution, while these initial findings might sound encouraging, they also prove that people still have the virus and might not know it and could still pass it along. And that becomes even more likely as things start to reopen and people start to venture from their homes more. And that's why the scientists hope to keep their study going well into the reopening process to track those numbers. And they also hope to potentially expand it into other communities, and that includes here in Portland.
Kaylee, thank you. Now, still ahead, stimulus checks are in the mail. But how do you know if yours is real? Our Verified team shows us how to spot fakes. But first, a question. What happens to your unemployment check if your workplace reopens, but you still don't feel safe returning? Well, the answer is, if your workplace is deemed safe and you choose not to return, the Employment Department could disqualify you from receiving any further unemployment benefits.
Leif's Auto Collision Centers, the finest in collision repair.
Progressive groups and newspapers we trust support Shemia Fagan for Secretary of State, not just for her progressive record in the Senate, but because of how she got there.
My dad raised me as a single parent, and my mom battled meth and opioid addiction.
Fighting through tough times made her the fighter she is today, for civil rights, for our democracy, for every voice to be heard. Educators, Planned Parenthood PAC, and newspapers agree. Senator Shemia Fagan for Secretary of State.
Some people won't understand why you get a fresh Papa Murphy's pizza that you bake yourself until they taste it. Other things will be harder to explain. For a limited time, pick up the Taco Grande pizza for just $13. Papa Murphy's. Change the way you pizza.
I'm Sam Adams, and I'm running for Portland City Council. I love Portland. These are uncertain times, with many of us hurting, but the strength of our city connects us. We're Portlanders. When things get tough, we lean on our neighbors and our community. We get together and we innovate. We need proven leadership with the experience to help us get through these tough times. Together, we will recover and make a better Portland for everyone.
Hi, everyone. Lisa Vance here, Chief Executive for Providence in Oregon. One thing we all know, this COVID-19 pandemic has changed all of our lives. I want to say thank you to all of our caregivers for their bravery and the compassion on the front lines. I want to thank our community. The support we have felt has been amazing. What we will remember is the support, the kindness, and the caring being shared by so many. My deepest gratitude to all. Thank you.
Oregon has a reputation for clean water and healthy fish habitat. Responsible forest management and Oregon forest protection laws help keep it that way.
A few of you sent us posts like these. A state police department warning about fake stimulus checks and how to spot the real ones. They list security features on checks to look for, and you wanted to know if those were real. Short answer, yes, and some of them you can spot at home. Our main source is the U.S. Department of Treasury and the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC confirmed they are monitoring a number of scams related to COVID-19, and they're warning that stimulus checks could be next. To help, the Treasury Department put out this chart of 5 physical security measures on checks. 1, the seal should say Bureau of the Fiscal Service or Financial Management Service. 2, the ink on the seal should turn red when moisture is applied. 3, there's microprinted text on the back you can see under magnification. 4, holding the check up to light will reveal a U.S. Treasury watermark on the front and back. And 5, there's a layer of printing only visible under ultraviolet light. Now, some of those, like the watermark, can be tested by anyone, but most are meant for banks to double check. The easiest way for you to make sure your check is legit? the check verification website set up by the Treasury Check Information System. Basically, you enter your check number and amount, and it'll tell you if you have an authentic Treasury check in hand. Remember, check scams rely on you sending money. These IRS checks have no strings attached. So if you get a check that says to deposit it and send money somewhere, that's likely a scam. If you've got other questions like this, send us an email. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
Some cleaning or disinfecting companies, they advertise that they kill COVID-19. Why should you be wary of these claims? Here's Danielle Kane with the Better Business Bureau.
This is where we talk about the importance of advertising honestly. So for businesses, it's super important for them to be advertising honestly. You don't know what you don't know about the virus, and that's okay. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to give consumers that false sense of protection or comfort, thinking that they're COVID-19 free when perhaps that's not a real possibility. So using disclaimers like XYZ may mitigate your risk instead of will kill the virus, those are important clarifications. And for consumers, we just really want people to be safe and to vet the businesses they're going to use going forward.
All right, still to come, will Oregonians who are trying to get their driver's license get to skip the road exam? But first, another question from a viewer. She asked, should I cancel my July wedding? Will restrictions be lifted by then? Well, the answer, restrictions may or may not be lifted by then. But Dr. Claire Wheeler with OHSU told us it would not be safe, rather, to have a large gathering by July.
From our family to yours, we want to encourage you to keep going. Keep protecting what's most important. Keep hopeful in the face of all this. Keep believing. Keep being strong. Keep supporting the people on the front line. Keep staying together while staying apart. Keep being fearless. And most of all, keep dreaming. American Family Insurance is mailing our personal auto insurance customers a premium relief payment to help them keep going. We'll keep being here when you need us.
In these times, we need leaders in Washington who know how to get things done for Oregon. That's Congressman Kurt Schrader. Kurt passed the only bill in Congress reducing the cost of prescription drugs. Kurt Schrader's expanded career and technical education for jobs that require other than a 4-year degree. And he's written a bipartisan plan to eliminate power plant emissions to help defeat climate change.
I'm Kurt Schrader, and I approve this message because real progress happens if you're willing to work with everyone.
Attention Medicare recipients. Medicare has expanded benefits to help you during these uncertain times. Coverage may now include many benefits to help you while at home. To find out what new Medicare Advantage benefits you can get in your area code, call the Medicare Coverage Helpline now.
Hi, Joe Namath here. In Lakeview, I'm at home staying safe. There are new benefits to help you while at home. Telehealth, in-home aids, home-delivered meals, and so many more. But you don't get them automatically. You need to enroll. The easiest way to enroll is to call the Medicare Coverage Helpline now.
Get what you're entitled to. Coverage may now also include dental, home-delivered prescriptions, no deductibles, and no copays. Don't delay. Call to see if the new benefits are available in your area.
Call now. It's free.
Call 1-800-300-2017. That's 1-800-300-2017 now.
Dr. Maxine Dexter has shown uncommon courage helping Oregon respond to our current global health crisis. Her strong leadership and her medical expertise is exactly what we need.
Every major newspaper agrees. Voters should pick Maxine Dexter, who has already demonstrated her fearlessness. Oregon is going to need Dexter's passion, decisiveness, and perspective in the coming years.
Vote for Maxine Dexter. Now more than ever, we need a doctor in the House.
Voting by mail is easier than ever this year. Just fill out your ballot, and now no postage required. The safest way, mail it by May 14, or drop in a ballot drop box by May 19. Get up-to-the-minute Election Day results with KGW.
Hard not being able to see family and friends.
It's getting kind of lonesome a little bit because you're not around as many people as you're used to.
Trying to enjoy life as it's coming on a day-by-day basis.
For the most part, I'm just feeling blessed right now.
Many of you are asking if Oregon is flattening the curve. Well, let's take a look at a graph that shows reports of new coronavirus cases. Now, in Oregon, you can see that the curve has dipped a little, but has pretty much been flat for the last month. That means that we are still getting a steady stream of new cases each day. But keep in mind, testing has also increased, so that was expected. Washington is still seeing more new cases every day than Oregon, but their curve has been going down steadily over the past month. Now, some of you have been asking, will Oregon waive driving tests like other states? Kyla Boshi looked into that question and some of the big challenges that the DMV is facing right now.
Oregon, like a lot of other states, is dealing with a real backlog at the DMV because offices have been closed since March due to the coronavirus pandemic. The DMV estimates more than 100,000 people are waiting to get their license renewed or maybe replaced. That backlog includes 16-year-olds waiting to get their driver's license. Now, a couple other states, Georgia and Wisconsin, have started to waive driver's tests. That means no road exams. In Oregon, the DMV says right now that's just not an option. So you new drivers, unfortunately, you're going to have to wait. They're not going to waive that driver's test. It'll be some time until you can get your license.
Not what they wanted to hear, I'm sure. Hey, with some businesses soon reopening, employees heading back to work, what should pet owners do with their animals to help them cope with separation anxiety? You've been spending a lot of time together recently. The owner of a canine training center offered some advice.
Your dog's going to freak out, and the separation anxiety cases that we're going to see, I'm confident, are going to skyrocket. If you are typically working 8 hours a day and your dog is crated or confined 8 hours a day, please don't wait till May 15th to start doing that again. To let you leave and come out of the room and be okay with it. What we want to make sure to do is that the dog is very comfortable in the crate, even when you're home, especially when you're home.
If you still have questions, our past stories may help answer them for you. Go to straight to KGW.com/answers to see all of our past Q&As. Thanks for being with us tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 7 o'clock to answer your questions. Have a great evening.